Find the exact value of sine of negative 5 pi over 12. There are several different ways we could approach this problem. I will choose to use the identity for sine of a sum of angles. And the reason we're doing that is because we want an exact value, but our angle measure, 5 pi over 12, or negative 5 pi over 12, neither one is one of our main increments on the unit circle, so we don't know an exact value for sine of that angle. Here are a few angle measures that we are familiar with from the unit circle. So to figure out how we could find a sum or a difference of angles to lead us to a negative 5 pi over 12, we can take each of these angles and rewrite it as a fraction with a denominator of 12. And now notice that we've got some options. If we did 4 pi over 12 minus 9 pi over 12, that would equal negative 5 pi over 12. Or a different option would be 3 pi over 12 minus 8 pi over 12 would also equal negative 5 pi over 12. Whichever pair we use, we'll get equivalent answers. I'm going to choose to use a pi over 4 and 2 pi over 3. With both denominators equaling 12, we can see that subtracting would equal a negative 5 pi over 12. So we can say that sine of negative 5 pi over 12 equals sine of pi over 4 minus 2 pi over 3. Next, we'll need to use this identity. Sine of u minus v equals sine u cosine v minus cosine u sine v. That's how we'll need to evaluate this expression sine of pi over 4 minus 2 pi over 3. And pi over 4 is our value for u, 2 pi over 3 is the value for v. Substituting those values in place of u and v leads us to this line, and now we can evaluate each of these trig functions because we're using increments that are familiar to us from the unit circle. Sine of pi over 4 is radical 2 over 2, or 1 over radical 2 if we don't have the denominator rationalized. Cosine of 2 pi over 3 is negative 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is another radical 2 over 2, or 1 over radical 2. And then the sine of 2 pi over 3 is a positive radical 3 over 2. Now we'll attempt to simplify this expression using order of operations. We'll take care of the multiplications and then the subtract. Here are the results of the two multiplications. Our numerators are not like radicals, so we cannot combine them, but we can put them as two terms together in the numerator over the denominator 4. This is a fine way to leave the answer, or we could see a common factor in these two terms in the numerator that we could factor out. So a few different ways we could write an answer. You could factor out a negative radical 2 to leave us with 1 plus radical 3, and this is still all over 4, but nothing else really that we can do to simplify, to divide out any common factors from numerator and denominator. So here are two different expressions that represent the result, an exact value of sine of negative 5 pi over 12.